Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. This is going to be the special for Christmas. Now I know some of you are expecting it to be on the BBC Micro, but unfortunately, and this will just take 1 second, my son has taken the BBC Micro to his grandmother's and grandfather's house. It's the BBC Master he took, which is the one I wanted to make the video on, to show you how to install the SD card and hopefully make a light pen. And none of that's happening because it's gone. However, I do feel a little bit warm in my heart because when I was a lad and my parents would take us off at Christmas to various places, I used to always bring my BBC Micro and use that. So I'm not going to begrudge him that. So today, the video is going to be about repairing one of these Dyson vacuum cleaners because it's gone a bit tonto. And this should be quite interesting because there's a lot of gubbins in it. So sit back. Put on the heater, make sure you're nice and warm, sit by the open fire, take your cool glass of prune juice, and enjoy. So when I was handed this, I was told it didn't work, and I thought instantly it's probably blocked, because when these are blocked they do this strange thing where they start going, and we'll see if this is blocked or not. Okay, so trigger's not doing much. Come on. Seems all right. Oh. Okay. No. So there's definitely something a bit fishy with it. So let's get it on the bench. Home sweet home. It doesn't feel right unless it's on the bench, does it? Okay. So first things first, we're going to have to discombobulate this. I'll just have another sip of my old prune juice here. I really like the old prune juice, but you don't want to drink too much of it. That's the problem. So filter wise, that one's looking all right. That one's looking all right. So there's a bit of dirt in there, which I'm just going to tip in the bin. That was just regular dust though, not too much. It doesn't like anybody's been using this for fetching some plastering or something, because that's always a bit dodgy, isn't it, when you have the plastering dust. So let's see, how do we dismantle it? So we pop that off. If I recall, there are some catches in here which you can pull down. Yeah, okay, so I pulled that catch in like that, and that pulled out that waste bin thing. I don't know what you call that part. Right, so and I think there's something in here you can pull. You might be able to get that other part off as well. Yeah, there we go. It's like tearing down a rifle, isn't it? So that's the other combobulator. Battery, does the battery come off? The battery looks pretty much part of that, but we're going to get in there. So there's some star screws in there. Regular screw here. And something in there is where we got to get, because that's where all the wiring and the motor is. And then we're going to also have to figure out how do we hotwire this so it'll activate when nothing's connected, so we can test it. Let's get it open. So I hope you've been enjoying this festive period. I'm coming to the point where I've pretty much had enough now. I want to get rid of all the chocolates, all the cheese, all the cakes, all the Christmas fare from the house, because I am a food addict. I don't know about you, are you a food addict? But if I see, I don't know if it's food addict actually, it's like a naughty food addict, a treat addict. Whenever I see all those sausage rolls or candies or whatever, I just have to eat them. Every time I walk past them, I keep eating them. It's just like, I want to leave it alone, but I can't. They keep dragging me back. Let's see how this works. So it's all a mechanism there. It's all a mechanism. This thing is crazy how it's constructed. I kind of feel that you need to loosen something and then this is going to plop out. I haven't looked online. There's probably guides. You might want to look at a guide or watch this video through the end to see what mistakes I make. Because I'm going to make a lot, but I've done the two at the front here. I'm just going to remove all the obvious screws, basically. I think that's all we can do for now. But it can't be rocket science. Dyson engineers will have had a way to get in here, I'm sure. because of course we do know that manufacturers of goods always make the best design decisions. Look, that's how the battery removes. So that's a good start there. We can take the battery off. Now hoping there's going to be some big gaping wire or something, just something hanging off a connector that's not attached. Easy fix then. And then by the time we bolt it all back together, it'll just work. Now if you have one of these which has been... Ooh, there you go, that's how you remove the battery. Look at that. The battery even has a switch on it. So the battery knows if it's connected to something. It's bonkers, isn't it? Quite over-engineered, isn't it, for a battery? I've got one of these vacuums as well, and I've actually got a crack in mine. Something. Oh, that's the on switch. Hang a boot. So when you actually turn it on, it's pushing down. I can feel my finger. See my finger moving in and out? That's the on switch, is the actual battery. So everything is contained in that. That's an interesting thought though, isn't it? Because if you've got a flaw, it could just as easily be in the battery or the trigger mechanisms to the battery. But I've got one and it's got a crack now. I can't remember where the crack is. Like they're along here or down here. It's something or another. Nobody in my household admits to dropping it though. But clearly it has to have been dropped, hasn't it? Now this switch here is crying out to be levered off. I think that's what's going to happen with that a little bit. So I'm just going to do a little gentle lever in. See how it's connected. It does seem... Whoa! Yes. There's a bunch of stuff in there. Luckily it's magnetic. There's a whole spring. So it's actually a magnet. So you don't need to take that out. Don't take that out. You don't need to. There's a reed switch in the body. Great. So I'll have to fit that back later. Let's not worry about that. So that's good too. That's, you know, it's even less stuff that we have to pull out. We just got to figure out how this goes. I can see a red wire and a white wire coming to this component here, which fits into the other body, and then I can see this bit has a spring. But I'm looking here, this looks like it's one piece totally. All of this is like one piece. So this clearly has to be extracted somehow. Ah, and I can see a screw right in there, right down there. There's a Torx. So let's put our Torx bit back in. You're going to need a long one like that. So if you haven't got one, get one. I'll tell you what I can read off the... Oh, that's tight. You're not getting anywhere without one of these drivers, actually. That was so tight. Okay. It says here, is that writing? A T8. That's a T8, okay? Before you start, get yourself a T8. Come on. Where else? There's a big old spring in there too to catch you out. Don't know if you won't be able to see that. Need to get hold of some sort of torch, don't I, that'll fit down these things. Does it twist? It's a little twist. Flick of the wrist. The little USB port in there. You can see it's off now. It did take some brute force and ignorance, but I show you what I did. I think this is pretty much the definitive way. Ignore the maulings because they were my experimental things, but what I did was I shoved a screwdriver in this bottom section, and I probably got it, you can see, quite deep. There's an O-ring here as well, be careful. And I just cranked it. I just literally put that in. And I think when it was about 4 or 5 millimeters in, I just bent it back, and that was enough to kick that off. And I just kept bending it that way, and it popped off. I did try working my way around, and it really didn't do anything other than just damage the O-ring further round. So I think pressure on the bottom is where's needed, but that's good though. We're in now. Just looking at all these things here. There are some push fit connectors. You can just about see them through there. I'm hoping that that's really all we've got to do. There's some metal work. Just being ginger with it. I don't know how it's stuck on. It does seem to be glued. I think it is a piece of plastic actually, but it's clipped. I can see clips. There are clips. There are clips. There are clips. There are clips. So with a fine tool, I think you're gonna have to get in there and pop those clips off. Come on now. Work with me. It's doing it. It's doing it. They're just spring clips. Just lever them out. Boom. I'll show you those. So look, there's a look at that. Ah ha ha! We've done it. We've actually figured this out. This looks, see there's a melt there. This looks like a bloody production fault. Look at that. Look how loose that is. Dyson, what are you doing? Look at the other side. That's tight as heck. Look at this one. It's melted to hell and it's loose as hell. No wonder this thing's been going wah, wah, wah. That's a very high resistance junction at that point. Let's see if I can get in here. Yeah. My word. That's bad form. I reckon Dyson would have replaced this. They would have replaced this gratis for this fault. This is amazing. That is a mega fault there, right there. Look at the heat that must have been generated for that. It's actually... Ah! Got it. It's actually melted the washer away. That is very, very fishy. Look, you can see it right there. See the edge just totally minced off that. Not good. Not good indeed. Right, so now I'm just going to do a sanity check now. We can get another washer and machine screw, but I think before we try levering off this old washer, we'll just assemble this far and actually tighten that up, and it should just work. Yeah, and then we'll worry about cleaning it up, if you see what I mean. Now that screw isn't going in anymore. Maybe the screw itself has been damaged. I'll take the one out the other side. In fact, the screw has been damaged. It's missing bloody half the screw. We're going to compare side by side what a good one should look like to the one that's in it. That is phenomenal. That is such bad form. I suspect it's worked its way loose somehow. How else could it be out so many turns like that? So that's a like an anodized screw and washer combo there. On the left you can see it's nice and good, and on the right it's lost all of its anodizing because it's got too hot. And look, do you see that right there? It's actually melted as far, it looks almost like halfway through. That's the amount of damage, and that's why it's not screwing back in. And I'm going to just test that by taking the shiny screw that's not damaged, and I'm going to put that into the old fitting, and hopefully that will work. Oh, don't tell me that's mauled out enough. Look, it's friggin' not going in, you know. I don't know if I'm going to have to just clean that out with a tap. It's... I can get it, but dang. I wonder if it was a manufacturing flaw and the machine just stopped. I bet that's bloody what it was. So at Dyson, they're probably using a machine that's running these in at a certain torque, yeah? So it's and then it stops, it goes brrr when it hits the torque limit. Now if you have one of these, which is a soldered in nut effectively as the receptacle for that screw, that machine screw that's going through, if that is damaged and somehow pinching, so it's like cross-threaded, when you put in the new one, it's going to hit the torque limit very early, and then it won't make a good junction. So you could see there, I've had to really crank that in like that, really high. I'm almost worried I'm going to damage the PCB. Whereas the old one, if you recall, just loose as hell, flopping around doing nothing. Just as, again, sanity check, I'm going to put the old one, the damaged one, into the other, the non-damaged hole. Let's see where that goes. And look, that's going in like that, like nothing. That's like nothing. That was absolutely fine. So this was wrong. Gosh, I'm kind of, in a way, I'm glad I've done it so you can see this thing can occur. But on the other hand, the owner of this machine could have just taken it back to Dyson and just blown their top. But then you wouldn't know about it, and you wouldn't be aware that Dyson has these flaws. They might just blame the owner somehow. Yeah, I don't know. We just brushed it off. Right, so that's in now. I want to test it. I don't want to put everything back together. I was hoping, by the way, though, to see... we'll have to work out which side this goes on, because there's a magnet here, and I want to make sure I don't put it in the wrong way. But we'll figure that out. That's fine. So we'll put the handle back on, whichever way around it went, which is this way. I'm not seeing any lights coming up. And then we'll put this part in. You've got to remember I've taken out a lot of screws here, so... Whoa! Quite a blast actually when it doesn't have that back on. That I probably increased the Dyson suction now by about 2000%. If you remember my earlier videos where the back filter was faulty and I just removed it, that's exactly the effect it had. So we know which side the magnet goes on, so that gives me some hope on refitting that switch. Don't know if I'll have a quick go trying to fit it now. Let's see how it might go. Maybe it just clips in like that. I'll have to sort that out because the spring's not engaged, it's a bit flimsy. So yeah, reassemble it. I guess that's the name of the game at this point. Now, is there any way of me figuring out what... well, actually, I'm not going to reassemble it totally because I want to sort that out. But just to let you know, though, to get this far, if you really just want to get in here, ignore all of the other stuff I did and all the bits I unscrewed, really. Well, maybe apart from the battery, it's probably safer to remove that because you could have just popped that off straight off. I don't see any retainment for that. There's no screws, no anything holding that part in. So if you just want to get into the electricals at the back, just jump straight in that way. Again, pop the battery out with that one screw here. Now I'm going to go see if we can sort out a washer for this machine screw. Line up the tip of the little willy thing. I found a screw. I don't know what it's from. There was a little pile of them in the corner, so I obviously dismantled something. But it's a, I'm going to say hard disk style screw. You can have a little look. It's got the flanged end like that, a little bit of a, I don't know what you call those, just a flange screw. I'm not going to find a washer for it. I don't think we need the washer. I'm going to be very careful as I apply this. I don't think we're going to have a problem. It isn't a Torque, it's a Phillips head screw. So I'm just going to pop that in there, and I'll zoom in a bit so you can see the kind of fit. It's a really good size, so it's obviously a standard size. Is it an M3, something like that, M2.5, M2? But there you go. That's fine, isn't it? Look at that terminal. I'm just going to adjust so I can get a bit more torque on this, and that's going to be absolutely fine. There's going to be no movement in that ring terminal at all. That one I torqued up from previous, so that was where the floor was on that side, but I don't think it's going to come back, to be honest with you. I've attached all the battery and the other parts. You didn't need to see me re-screw all the things we didn't need to unscrew. So, oh yeah, nothing on the trigger, but I think this makes the circuit, so we need to pop this on to make up this whole circuit. That seems absolutely fine to me. I mean, yeah, not noticing any heat on those parts. Now, the one thing we do need to fit, let's just make sure everything's in nicely, is this guard. And you can see where it went before because it does have that melted piece, and it does have those various bits and bobs of clips and stuff to fit. It did go around that away. I know that much though, because this port, there's a service port here, which 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably USB, to be honest. I'm almost tempted to mess around with it and chuck a USB on there, but life's too short. Or a serial port. Wasn't quite sure if these red wires went under or over. I really should have paid more attention to it. So have a look at the disassembly. I'm going to try with under to start with. Yeah, I think they'll bite. They'll bite. I'm just going to adjust myself. Just adjust myself because that doesn't look right. That right. Rotate it correctly. Yay! There we go. Oops! 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 I think you can just push that too far. I think that's basically pushed too far on it. It's not. I think it's just to stop you putting your fingers in from the back and touching the PCB. Something you will notice, though, of course, is that the PCB is kind of in the airflow. That's why there's a lot of dust on it. Yeah, Google just. My phone just said, "I don't understand." Google picked me up there. Why? Why did you do it that way? We don't understand. Yeah, I think you'll definitely get them in like that if you're prepared to leave those wires on the outside. I think that's probably how it went. You probably won't see them once that other part's on. We'll see that now. If you're really concerned with your hermetic seal, you'd need to make sure that that O-ring isn't damaged. You can just pop that off. Oh no, it is damaged now. And just get another O-ring from an O-ring kit, which I guess I'm going to have to do now. Totally prepared to run mine without filters, but I won't expect other people to have to. So let's see if we've got an O-ring that will stretch. That's thick boy. That's a thick boy. That's a thick boy. These are all thick boys. Very thick. Oh no, I'm gonna have to order something. Forget that. It's not worth it. Not needed. Not needed. Okay, let's pop that in. I know the user of this does not have pet allergies, so it's not really important. I suspect though, let's check. Yeah, it's pretty much all the air is still blowing out the right place. Put that in. How does this go? No! Suitably fussy, isn't it? This thing. Come on, engage. Engage, number one. It's not having it at all. I think that's why. That's it. That's it. That's it. There you go, fixed. So that's how you do it. And Dyson, minus a million points for that torque screw up. Please do it better in the future. So that's the end of that. It's all working. So hopefully that's been of some use to you. I just spoke to the actual owner of that, and that was the second unit Dyson had sent them. So I think that says a lot. So be careful if you're buying Dysons. Thanks for watching.